Hey, what's up guys and girls, this is JJ here with a video of the Orange OR15, my amplifier of choice. And this video is not necessarily a review demo of this little tube amplifier, but rather it is a video on showing you on how to dial in great sounds from this amplifier or from any good tube amplifier for that matter. I've gotten a lot of questions from viewers saying, well, you know, JJ, you seem to prefer this Orange OR15 amp and you coax great sounds out of it, but it is known to be a pretty high gain amplifier made for hard rock, even metal or very heavy musical styles, but still you manage to get some serious, you know, like blues tones out of it. So how do you do it? So it's not necessarily a review demo of the OR15, though I will share my opinion on the amplifier and tell you a little bit more about it in a minute. But it's much more about how to dial in a good guitar sound from a tube amplifier. So finding that sweet spot and how does the gain structure and how do the gain stages work. So for the purposes of this demo, I'm playing on my Kaufman's 63 Telecaster with Seymour Duncan Antiquities, built by Albert Dijnem in the Netherlands, one of the best guitar builders. I also own, I'm fortunate enough to own one of the 3 Les Paul models that he's made so far. I've got a 59 model, which is absolutely amazing. There's tons of videos on my channel already in which I use that. And I'm going straight into the OR15, so no pedals, using toaster cables. And I'm miking it all up with a Sennheiser E906 that is off-center, going straight into my my interface. So when you're playing a new amplifier for the first time, what I always do is set the EQ controls all the way down or to 12 o'clock and then start tweaking from there. But we will not get into tone controls just yet. First, I'd like to explain just a little bit of tech stuff about how a guitar amplifier actually works, okay? So inside a guitar amplifier, when you're coming from your guitar with a cable into your amplifier, it's gonna hit the preamp stage. Now, and in that preamp stage, there are valves. Usually those are 12 AX7 valves or something like that. And that preamp stage is basically meant to color your tone and to overdrive your tone. Amplifiers that have a lot of clean headroom, they will not overdrive so much, or maybe not at all, at the input stage, like a twin reverb or a Fender Deluxe reverb. They will not overdrive so much, but the Orange OR15 is an amplifier that is known for its distortion sounds, right? For its overdriven sounds. So it's gonna distort pretty much at the preamp stage. So then you're going through a set of EQ controls. In this case, it's just bass, middle, and treble. And if you're an idiot like me, you can also see what the knobs do by means of these icons. So this is a treble clef, this is a bass clef, and this is for the mids. And then there is a power amp in the amplifier, and that is where the sound is amplified to go into your speaker. So in this particular amplifier are EL84 power amp tubes, which give a great British rock kind of tone. A Vox AC30, AC15 also has EL84s, and Marshall amplifiers generally have EL34s or EL84s. A classic American power amp tube is the 6V6 or a 6L6, and they have a slightly different compression at the power stage, okay? So what you want to do is just set the gain really low, set the volume just a little bit higher. I'll put all controls all the way up on my guitar, and I'm on the bridge pickup, and I'm just really closely going to listen to what the amplifier actually does. So if I just strike a chord, you know, I'm going from no gain to where I'm producing a sound, okay? So this sounds pretty wimpy to me. It's just really clean, not compressed or anything. And if I turn up the volume, just really clean, no compression. And the way gain structures work is when you start increasing the gain, you're going to go from no compression or overdrive at all, like you're hearing right now, to right here. And this is also a feel thing. I can kind of feel it under my fingers. This is the spot where it starts to compress. You know, so I can feel it sustain a little bit more. It sounds a little bit fatter. Now let's see what happens if I turn it just a little bit up. And turn the master volume down. It's really compressing, and I'm right around the spot where it's on the edge of breakup. And this is what you read and hear about a lot. This is that spot. So when I play soft, it's really nice and clean and compressed. But when I dig in, it starts to break up a little bit. Also, by the way, on a Telecaster, I always turn down the tone control on the bridge pickup just a little bit. So I always have just a little bit of treble left to roll into my sound should I need it. And it's not going to sound too bright. You know, so it's right around the edge of breakup. Alright, this is a great spot for running an overdrive pedal in front of it, because then the headroom, the volume on the overdrive pedal is going to kick the preamp in the nuts and overdrive it harder. But this amplifier has plenty of overdrive on tap, okay? And what I forgot to say over there, I just set the master accordingly, all right? So right now I'm in my apartment. I would generally not push it over, you know, like the third stripe over there. Now, and if I want a less compressed sound, all I have to do is just turn back. And I'm back in that little clean territory. It's a little bit of breakup. So if I go to both pickups selected, you know, to with the volume up full, I'm back to that edge of breakup point. Now what happens when I start increasing that gain? Well, I'm getting into overdrive territory. Like that, and I can still clean it up with my guitar volume. Going back to my, you know, to my clean sound. When I dig in, it's pretty overdriven. When I play soft, it's pretty clean. Really nice spot to be in. So what happens if I turn it up to about 12 o'clock? As I said, it's a pretty high gain amplifier. You get this. Alright, so far you've learned about the different gain stages in that preamp before it is hitting the power amp. Now the power amp can also deliver appropriately named power amp distortion, and each type of power amp tube has a different kind of sound, but I will not be able to demo that in my apartment. That is something for which you need very, very high volumes. Okay, so I'm focusing on gain stages in that preamp section. So what you just heard was like squeaky clean into just a little bit of compression, then going to that edge of breakup sound where you dig in and the sound starts to break up, and when you hold back, play softer, you get a clean tone, which is a very nice spot to be in, into overdrive. Okay, now I'm set for a moderate overdrive setting with the drive set to 12 o'clock on the Orange OR15, and I've set the master volume to about I think that's called 2. It is 9 o'clock, and with all controls up full on the telly, I'm gonna start tweaking the EQ now, because gain stages is the first thing that you will have to understand, and then tone controls should always be set by ear. I always start off at 0 or at 12 o'clock and then start tweaking whatever I want to hear for a certain room. Okay, so here's that sound with all the EQ controls set to 12 o'clock. So the first thing I'm going to do is roll off all of the bass end and just see how much I need out of that. Now to my ears, that is already enough bass end for the kind of music I play. Especially when with a band, the bass player is going to take care of that low end anyway. It's going to have me stand out just a little bit more, because audibly you will hear more of the mids and less of the bass. Let's see what happens when I increase. I don't know if it picks up on camera, but that is a lot of oomph through this 12-inch Celestion V30 speaker. So I like it right around there. Let's take care of the high end. This is all the way up. Okay, just a little bit more. Now I have to bear in mind that I'm going to turn down the tone control on that telly anyway and start tweaking from there. Okay, little less bass, and now I'm pretty happy with this. Now on some guitars, when you turn back on the guitar volume, you're going to lose some high end. That is just something that is typical for certain pickups. It's not so much on this guitar, but that's also it's also a cool little trick to leave some of that treble on your tone pot for those kinds of situations. I really like that sound. Okay, so what will happen when we touch the mids? Okay, now I always say the mid tones, that's where the life in the guitar tone is. So in order to get a typically British rock kind of sound, like a classic rock kind of sound, I would typically just back off the gain a little bit and increase the mids. Even more mids and less treble. Now let's take all of the mids out and see what that does. Let's increase the high end and the bass for more of an American kind of sound. Okay, now I like the British kind of sound, so I'm just going to back off on the bass and the high end and increase the mids to about right there. Leave the gain at 12 o'clock on this particular amplifier, because that is going to give me a very expressive sound. Now the OR15 is a pretty expressive amplifier, and with that I mean that when you play soft, even with the gain at 12 o'clock, it's nice and clean. Now for my personal tastes, I wouldn't want to go above 12 o'clock on the gain on this particular amplifier, because it doesn't fit the style of music that I play with Legendary Orchestra of Love. So this pretty much suits my needs. It's more than loud enough for rehearsals to keep up with the drummer, and especially for live use. You know, 90% of the time you're going to get mic'd up anyway. And I wouldn't even turn up this amplifier louder than I have it right now when I'm playing live, because when you keep your stage volume really low, that will certainly make for a happy sound guy. And of course their job is to translate the sound that you're hearing from your amplifier, and in a different room, mind you, you might want to set it up a little bit differently, because certain rooms are very boomy or very bright sounding. You might want to tweak the EQ just by ear, and the sound guy's job, of course, is to translate that to front of house. Okay, so I generally just keep my stage volume like this, where I can just pretty much feel the amplifier, and then have some guitar through the monitors, through the wedges on the stage, and I'm a happy camper that way. If I would have to, you know, like play at a venue where we're not being mic'd up, just the vocals, or maybe the vocals and the bass drum and snare, this amplifier could definitely hold its own in, you know, like a bar for 100 or 200 people, with a capacity of 100 to 200 people. Now, what is the 7 watts and 15 watts setting for? Now, remember this: if you have a 100-watt tube amp, that is crazy loud. It's going to have so much volume. Very few of us will ever be able to turn it up that loud and not get into trouble with somebody. Okay, so the wattage doesn't say a lot. A 15-watt tube amp can be pretty loud and easily loud enough for gigs, provided you're using a 12-inch speaker or 2 12-inch speakers. Then there's a lot to different types of speakers as well that I will not get into in this video. But using that 15-watt setting, I would probably use the OR15 on the 15-watt setting if I was going to play without being mic'd up, just by playing this as a backline amp. I would use the 15-watt setting. But for all other gigs, I would just knock it down to 7 watts, set it to 3 o'clock, the master volume, set it up the way I have it right now, and it's going to be fine for my stage sound, and it's going to sound really good in the room as well. Now, on the back of this amplifier are not very many features. There's just an effects loop that you can use to hook up your reverb or delay pedals if you want that. No recording features or anything. It's a pretty bare bones amp, and that's why I bought it, because it has so few knobs, and with the pictures it's really easy to see on a dark stage what does what. Of course, there's 2 speaker outs, so you can use 2 8-ohm outputs, driving 2 cabs or 16 ohm output. I'm driving an Orange PPC112 that I modified with a new grill cloth so that aesthetically it looks just as good when vertically oriented as it would as if it was just in a horizontal position. And I moved the handle to this side of the amplifier. It's very light, it's very well made, very sturdy, and I'm really happy with it. So after all this jibber jabber about gain structures and dialing up a good tube amp tone, I hope there was something that you are going to put in your little backpack that you learned from this video, whereas at the same time we've taken a closer look at the Orange OR15, my favorite amplifier of this moment. Signing off, JJ.